Good morning, class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform provided by Jagrati Classes. Now today we are going to start our new chapter, that is chapter 9th of class 10th, Heredity and Evolution. So according to the latest 2021 prescribed syllabus, that is according to the reduced syllabus, only the topic of heredity in our syllabus and the topic of evolution is completely being deleted. So now according to this we will be studying heredity and this would complete our chapter. We will not be studying any information for evolution, and this makes your chapter relatively short because this evolution part was really conceptual part. No doubt this was interesting, but this evolution part is being now deleted, so you have a small chapter heredity here, and now we'll be starting with the chapter. This is again a very important discovery. You will be reading about a scientist, that is Gregor John Mendel, and he proposed some laws for heredity. So now let's start with our chapter, that is now we call our chapter 9 to be heredity because this evolution part is being deleted as per the new prescribed 2021 syllabus by CBSE. So you just have to do heredity for exams. Now starting with the chapter. See, now the first question is, what is heredity? What do you mean by the name of the chapter? As we have the tradition that whenever we start a chapter, we focus on the name of the chapter. So for us, for this session, you have the name of the chapter to be heredity. So we'll be talking first, what do you understand by heredity term? What is heredity? And for explaining heredity, you can also have some similar questions. That is, why do children look like their parents? That is, the children of humans resemble their parents. Then you have, why the children, you can say the kittens remember to the cats, okay? Why the puppies of dogs remember to their parent dogs? Or why the children of humans are humans only? So all these questions can be answered when you know the term heredity. And then we say that why do the brothers and sisters resemble each other? Why do we have resemblance? You have also heard the term variation. Variation means every person has some differences with the other person, and because of these differences only we can identify others. If we were the same as our brother or as our sister, and if we didn't have any difference, that is, if the variation were zero, then you could not identify or differentiate between two individuals. So variation is again a very important term here. Now let's coming on to the point. For all the answers to this question, you should have the answer, what do you have? The concept of heredity. This heredity is also known as inheritance. So we are talking about heredity, and this heredity term is only known as inheritance. So do not get confused between the terms. These are one and the same things. So heredity is what? See, it is even mentioned, this is because we inherit trait from our parents, and the passing of traits from parents to child is the basis of heredity. So this gives you the definition of heredity, or you can say this is the definition of inheritance. That is the passing of traits. Traits are what? Traits are the characters. So traits word here is used for the word characters, or you can say characteristic features. Okay, so in science, in genetics, this subject, that is heredity, it belongs to a different branch of science which is called genetics. So in this science we use, for the terms characters or features, you use the scientific term traits here. So what is, if you are asked to define heredity, what you can write, or if you are asked what do you mean by the term inheritance, you will write the passing of traits or the passing of characters from parents to their child is known as heredity. Okay, you can call is called heredity, and this heredity is also known as inheritance. So from here you can also say that heredity is what? If we try to define inheritance. So we'll write inheritance. It is also called as heredity, and it can be defined as transfer of characters. Okay, instead of passing you can write it is the process of transfer of characters, and characters in science is written as traits. So heredity is a process of transfer of traits. There it was written from parents to offsprings, or to child you can write from one generation to its next generation. So this can again be a definition of heredity. Now I spoke a word, that is transfer of characters from parents to offsprings. So offspring here is child. Remember, child is known here as progeny. The word used for child is, you can either call it the next generation, the future generation, or you can call the child to be the progeny, or it is also known as offspring. So these are all the words which are used for child. So you can say heredity is the transfer of characteristic features from parents to child, from parents to the progeny, from parents to offsprings, or you can say from one generation to its future generation to the next generation. Any words you can use, just use it at the correct place. So this can be the definition of heredity. Now there was a man named Gregor John Mendel. He was a German botanist, and he told the basis of heredity. Okay, that is, in this picture what we have is, you have that these are two parents, okay, parent 1 and parent 2, and this is their child. So their child resembles to their parents. If you look at the picture, you can see that these parents they do not have a complete round shaped mouth. Okay, they have certain cone shaped or triangular shaped mouth, and hence the child also bears the same thing, that is, he has a triangular shaped face, not mouth, he has a triangular shaped face. So we know that. Why so? Why the parents who had certain triangular shaped face had a child which also had the same type of face? So all the answers to such questions are provided by Mendel. And Mendel worked in 1880s or so, he worked on the principles of heredity, and he gave the reasons or the answers to all such questions which we dealt here. All these questions, that why the child shows similar characters or similar traits with their parents, all the answers are provided by Mendel. So let's know something about Mendel. So here you have in front of you Sir Gregor Mendel. So he was an Austrian who lived in 80s, and Mendel conducted thousands of experiments, and Sir Mendel performed experiments on pea plants. So you have to remember that he did all his experiment using pea plants, and see, he did thousands of experiments. That is, he did a quite lot work. And these all experiments were aimed in order to find out how the traits, that is, you can take the shape, color, etc., how these traits are passed from one generation to the next generation. This was his aim of carrying out so many experiments. And now, because he was successful in providing us the basis of inheritance or basis of heredity, that is, he gave some laws and some explanations according to which you can tell that the child would have which similar features to their parents, or you can answer that why the child looks similar to his parents, talking about the human child, or you talk about any other animal child. Okay, and because of this he is given the title of father of genetics, or you can also call him the father of inheritance. Gregor John Mendel is also known as the father of inheritance. for figuring out the basic rules for how traits are inherited. And why he is known as father of genetics or father of inheritance? Because he gave some rules. He formulated the rules for understanding how the traits, how the characters are being passed from one to the next generation. I hope this is clear. So this was a brief introduction about Sir Gregor Mendel. Now we said that he experimented on pea plant. So this is the pea plant. And why he chose pea plant? You have some reasons that why Sir Mendel only chose pea plant. So the reasons, some of the reasons I'll write here. Reasons for selection of pea plant. If we talk about the reasons that why Sir Mendel only chose pea plants, the first reason would be because pea plant has a shorter life cycle. Shorter life cycle means pea plants reproduces and then it produces the offsprings or the next generation in a very small time. So we say that pea plant has a shorter life cycle, and which means, okay, not and I should write, it should be, that is, it produces offsprings, in less time duration. Then the next point or the next reason for choosing or working on pea plant, the next is it has the ability, pea plants have the ability to produce many number, or you can say large number. Pea plants has the ability to produce large number of plants. A single pea plant can produce many number of plants. So he chose to work on pea plants. Then the third one you can see is the pea plant possess many contrasting characters. And this we'll see that many means Mendel said that the pea plant have 7 contrasting characters or 7 contrasting features. Now we'll be studying all the 7 features. You have to learn that Sir Mendel worked on which of the 7 features and how they were contrasting. For an example, if we say that you can observe 2 different shapes of the seed of this pea plant. One could be the round shaped pea, that is, it is completely round, which looks very fresh. So one would be seed shape has 2 contrasting traits. Contrasting means the features, the characters which are just reverse or just opposite to one another. So if I take a feature that is seed shape, so this feature has 2 contrasting features or 2 contrasting traits which are round, and the next could be wrinkled. So this is one feature or one character which has 2 contrasting traits. Wrinkle means this sort of seed. So the shape of the seed of pea plant can be round or it can be wrinkled. In the similar manner, we'll be dealing with different kinds of characters like seed shape, then you have seed color, which would be round, seed color would be green and yellow. Then you have pod shape, pod color, flower position. So everything we'll be seeing. See, this is a chart for the different characters and their dominant and recessive. So before going on these characters, we'll study about 2 terms, that is dominant and recessive. Okay? So you should know the meaning of these words, that is dominant. What do you mean by dominant trait? Trait I already told you, it means features or characters. And what do you mean by recessive trait? So dominant trait is a trait which expresses itself. So we say that, and more you will understand when we'll be further continuing in this chapter. So dominant trait is a kind of trait which gets expressed always. Okay? And recessive trait, it does not get expressed, it does not expresses itself in the presence of, it doesn't get expressed in the presence of dominant trait, but it only expresses when the dominant trait is absent or when the dominant trait is lacking. When the dominant one is absent. So these are the two terms. Let's talk by an example. Okay? We take the example of height. So we are taking an example of height. Let's suppose you have parent 1 and parent 2. That is, you have two parents. First parent is tall and the next parent is dwarf. Which dwarf means he or she has a shorter height. So if the child is being produced, you have a child, then how to know that this child would be taller in height or she would be dwarf? So if I say that the child is tall in height, the child of the parents which were tall and dwarf in height, they got a child which was taller in height. So this means that the tall character or the tall trait here is a kind of dominant trait, because I have written that dominant trait is the trait which gets expressed always. So whenever you have the presence of dominant trait, it would always express itself. It means because the child was tall and because you had two traits of parents, tall and dwarf, but only one trait got expressed in the child, and hence we can say that this tall should be the dominant trait, because dominant trait is the trait which gets expressed, and hence because this tall trait gets expressed, it is known as dominant. And then this trait, that is the dwarf, it would become the recessive trait, because this dwarfness did not get expressed in the child. And recessive trait are the traits which does not express itself when it has a dominant trait present, because with this dwarf we had the dominant trait of tall, so this trait did not get expressed, and this is called recessive trait. But there is a situation in which the recessive trait can also get expressed, and the condition is this recessive trait gets expressed when the dominant trait should be absent. This means if you had two parents, parent 1 and parent 2, and if parent 1 was dwarf and next parent was also dwarf, we know that dwarf is a kind of recessive trait. And for this dwarf, you have tall trait to be dominant. But here, do you have any dominant trait? No. You do not have any dominant trait present in this example, and hence, when the dominant trait is absent, when the dominant tall trait is absent, then which trait would get expressed in the child? The recessive one. So we say that generally the recessive trait does not get expressed, but this recessive trait gets expressed when the dominant trait is absent. Because in this example, the dominant trait tall was absent, so the recessive get expressed and the child is dwarf. So these are the two terms. I hope this is clear. And how to remember which is dominant, which is recessive, you have to learn from the flow chart. From this, not flow chart, from this chart you have to remember. See Mendel's, this is actually the 7 contrasting traits of pea plant. Like one I discussed with you just before, that one of the trait is seed shape. And I told you seed shape, seed can be round or it can be wrinkled. So here the round trait, that is the round feature, is the dominant one, and wrinkled is the recessive. For example, if I take two pea plant, that is, this is first pea plant and this one would be your next pea plant, and then I tell you that the first pea plant is round and the next pea plant has wrinkled seeds. So which trait would I get in their progeny or in their offspring in the next generation? So you can say that you have two kinds of seed shape. First one is round, the next one is wrinkled. Because the round trait is dominant, all these traits written in the above section are your dominant trait. And we know that when any dominant trait is present, then this trait will get expressed in the future generation. So the future generation would have round seeds. But if I told you that I have chosen two pea plant, parent 1 and parent 2, which are both wrinkled, so you will say that we have two features, round and wrinkled. Round is dominant, but because no kind of dominant trait is present in the example, this recessive trait would get expressed and the future generation will also have wrinkled seeds. I hope now the concept of dominant and recessive is clear enough with you. So you can see you have 7 dominant traits. The first one is flower color. So you can have purple or white colored flowers. See, the flowers of pea are really very small in size, but you can see you can have these purple flowers, or instead of these purple flowers, okay, instead of the purple you can also have white flowers. So you have two varieties of flowers. So for the first trait, flower color, you have two varieties, purple and white. But from this, purple is dominant and white is recessive. So you have to remember all the traits. Then seed shape, you have round and wrinkled. The third is seed color. Seed color can be yellow or it can be green. But remember, we select the green colored, okay, we favor green colored peas. But here, yellow is dominant and green one is recessive. So this seems confusing. So this is an important trait or character to be learned. Remember the seed color, which is the dominant seed color, yellow, and the recessive seed color is green here. Now next you have the pod color. Pod means the external covering color. So pod color we'll choose green to be dominant and yellow to be recessive. Then you have pod shape. See, the pod shape can be inflated. That means it is very smooth, and it could be constricted. Constricted, you can see this has a smooth or a plain boundary, while this has an irregular boundary. So this is inflated and constricted. Inflated is your dominant and constricted is your recessive. Then the next is, this was 4, this was 5th. The 6th and 7th is, 6th one is plant height. Either the pea plant can be tall or it can be short. The tall trait is the dominant and short one is the recessive trait. And then you have flower position, axial and terminal. The axial position of flower is dominant while the terminal position is recessive. So you have to remember all the 7 characters with their dominant and recessive varieties. And please do remember, I am again reminding you that this third character, which is seed color, this remains confused. The students remains confused in this. That is, seed color, you have the yellow color to be dominant while the green color to be recessive. So generally a question is asked and many of you do it incorrect. That is, for the seed color you write dominant is green. But please remember it is confusing. The dominant is always yellow for seed color. But if you talk of pod color, the dominant one is green. So these 4 are confusing and you have to remember. So you can say that while choosing a pea plant, what we'll choose is, we'll choose a green pod. If we look at the pea plant and you are buying or purchasing peas, then you'll look for the green pod, but you'll look for the unusual, that is yellow seeds in it. So you can remember that GPS, you all know GPS system is very advanced. So you can remember GPYS is dominant. GP is green pod, YS is yellow seeds. GPYS means a modification of GPS. And this GPYS stands for dominant trait. Green pod is dominant. Green pod means color of the pod. So pod color should be green, then it would be dominant. And yellow seeds, YS. So if you have yellow seeds, then these are dominant. So this you have to remember, what are the dominant traits, what are the recessive traits which you have. And you can see you have 7 contrasting traits. Contrasting means these are opposite to each other. That is, for seed shape, the first contrasting is round and the next is wrinkled. So round and wrinkled are opposite of each other. Now we can classify all the traits into 2 categories. The first one is acquired and the next is inherited. These are very simple to again understand. That is, you can categorize the traits into 2 categories. The first category is acquired and the next is inherited traits. So the acquired traits, these are the traits actually, if I describe you simply. Acquired is anything which you learn during your life. That is, if I say cycling, if a person is has the ability of cycling, then this would be the acquired trait. And inherited traits are which we get as a gift from our parents. That is, inherited traits would be what? Color of our eyes, color of hair, our height, our body structure, everything we can modify. But these are, that is color of eyes. You cannot change the color of eyes. It is being provided on the basis of heredity. So inherited traits, you can see the traits which are herited from the parents, while acquired are those traits which you learn during your lifetime. So inherited traits, if we simply write, then such traits are present in us at the time of birth. Okay? So these traits can be assumed as a gift from the parents, and these are present in us at the time of birth. But these acquired traits, if you see, acquired means which you have learnt, which you have gained on the basis of your hard work. So the acquired traits would be traits which are gained after hard work. Okay? Or the traits which we develop, these traits, these are developed during the lifetime. During the lifetime, during the life of an organism, and they get destroyed, and they get destroyed with the death of organism. So these can be simply, if you can understand, what do you have? Inherited and acquired. Acquired is what you learn during your life, and the inherited traits which you get from the parents, which you get from your parents. Now seeing the differentiating points, acquired traits, these are the traits which are developed in an individual due to special conditions. That is, either you work hard or you have a passion for something, then you develop that skill. So acquired traits are the traits which are developed during the lifetime of an organism. So these are developed in an individual due to special condition. So these are not present previously or from the starting. The individuals themselves develop these kind of traits. Whereas if we see the inherited traits, inherited, these are the traits which are passed from one generation to the next. That is, inherited traits are present at the time of birth. You have inherited traits in you. The next point is, they cannot be transferred to the progeny. So I have written here, these traits are developed during the lifetime and they get destroyed with the death of organism. So when the organism dies, these traits also get finished up. So hence these cannot be transferred from one to other generation. But here inherited traits, they get transferred to the progeny, because these traits we have inherited from our parents, and we have the capability to pass them to the future generations. So these traits get transferred to the progeny. Progeny, I told you, progeny means the future generation or the child. Or you can even call it to be offspring. Okay? Then the next is they cannot contribute to direct evolution, and they are helpful in evolution. You can write they cannot contribute to direct evolution, while the inherited traits, they are helpful in evolution. The next is, example of acquired is low weight of starving beetles. You can take any example, that is, you have learned dancing. So this dancing skill which you have, or if you know any other language, that is, if you know to speak French language, then French speaking ability, all these simply can be the examples of acquired traits, whereas the inherited traits, I already discussed, color of eyes, color of your hairs, the thickness of your hairs are even genetic, okay, and all the inherited other traits. So these were the different type of traits, that is acquired and inherited. I hope you understood this. Now we'll be moving on to the next. Okay, now we'll be doing the last topic. It is alleles. So alleles are what? Alleles are, if you want to define, you can call it to be different forms present in one gene. You know you have gene, okay, which are the functional unit of transferring characters from parents to offsprings. So in every gene, you know, every gene, that is one gene, is present for one character. That is, if I take the example of height. So you know, for height, you will have one gene. But this gene will have two contrasting traits or two different forms. The first one would be tall and the next one would be short or dwarf. For tall, you have the trait expressed as capital T. For dominant trait, I told you among tall and dwarf, which was dominant? Tall. So this tall is, the dominant trait are represented by capital letters and the recessive traits are represented by the small alphabets. That is, you have to, this tall is dominant, so we'll be using capital letter for this dominant trait. So for tall, we are using the first letter T. While the other trait, the recessive trait, is dwarf. And because it is dwarf, this is recessive trait, so we'll be using, if we are using capital T for dominant, then we'll use small t for recessive. The same alphabet, but written in capital and small letters. So you have to study allele. So I told you, if you consider a character height, then you have a single gene to determine height. And this gene will contain both the alleles. These are the alleles which are present. That is, these are the different forms of one gene. One gene has two different forms which are tall and dwarf, that is for height. And similarly, you can see that you have two parents, that is the male and the female parent. Now humans get two copies of every gene, one copy from each parent. One copy of gene comes from male parent, one comes from female parent. And let's suppose this male parent is responsible for blue colored eyes, and the copy of gene which is coming from female parent is responsible for brown eyes. And if I tell you that the child has blue eyes, that means this blue is your dominant trait and brown is the recessive trait. So it is written, the two copies don't have to be identical. Identical means same. So you can see that the two copies, the two alleles are responsible for different eye color. For example, if a gene contains information for eye color, one allele has a code of blue eyes, so this is an allele for blue eyes, and another code for the brown eyes. So allele, this is again the definition of alleles. Each variation of a gene is called an alleles. And because of the presence of these alleles, These alleles are responsible for creating diversity. That is, this is the function of allele. I hope you understood this. We'll be continuing this lesson in our further classes, and we'll be completing it in the next 2 to 3 video lectures. Thank you for joining today's class. Stay home, stay safe, and please do revise the concepts. If you have any sort of difficulty, you are free to ask anytime. Thank you for joining the class.